So I think there's a lot to be said for retro things that are not in mint condition. I know, especially with the Pokemon craze, people collecting the cards again, and everybody's looking for that gem mint 10 pristine PSA graded 100%, the most perfect card of all time. That Charizard just never been touched by oxygen. I know that's the craze. But what about the cards that we actually played with, the games that we actually played with, those used games, those great games, the N64 cartridge of 007 GoldenEye with the worn label? What about those? Isn't there value in that? You know, you've got middle-aged white women hanging up rusted hubcaps on the side of their houses because it's rustic. You know, where's that for us? Why does everything got to be perfect? I myself enjoy some worn, used, retro product, whether that be trading cards, video games. I don't need the Gem Mint 10 Charizard. The scuffed up, scratched up one is fine with me. I think mine's a PSA 5. Love it. So when I saw that Scott The Woz had a video about used games, I thought, man, I really enjoyed the last video I watched by this guy. I'm a huge fan of used games. Let's see what he has to say about it, because it's interesting. I've had so many differing experiences when buying used games of, like, you know, dealing with people who had things that were completely overpriced, like price gouging like crazy. And I've had experiences where I've gotten killer deals online and in person. I mean, there's so many different ways that you can experience purchasing used games. Let's see what his take is on this.
Hey y'all, Scott here. You know, so many people ask me, where do you get all those games?
Yeah, that'll do.
This is a used video game. Could you tell? Video game users are disgusting. We have sticky chairs and eat without socks on. So why are video games one of the most prevalent mediums where used products get swapped around? Everybody buys used products from time to time. There's no reason not to. I mean, the guy may have licked it beforehand, but the bread's still good. Ooh. But for as many used DVDs and books and CDs and clothes and razors you can find on eBay, Amazon, and thrift stores, why are used video games so much more immediately accepted? Yeah, we all buy used versions of these, but I hear so many people say, I bought used clothes, I didn't know that was possible. But video games have always been associated with secondhand buying. Of course you have some secondhand movie and music shops, but you kind of have to specifically look for them. Almost every place that sells video games sells used video games as well. I don't even remember ever getting a used movie or album as a kid, but video games? Hell yeah, this one had gum in it. Why are used games so prevalent, and why won't this come off? Well, I think a lot of it has to do with how expensive video games have always been. Why buy a brand new video game for $60 when you could buy it used for $55?
That's how I feel about it.
I can think of a few reasons. But see, you spend 20 hours with a game, and when you're done with it, you're generally done with it. Why not sell it and use that money to buy another game? See, most people, when they've had an experience, they're okay with letting it go to have more experiences. This isn't normal. But when a game changes hands a few times, it's bound to show some wear after a while. And because of that, there are loads of different species of used games. Firstly, we've got the lookalikes, used games that look nearly indistinguishable from new games. The game case is spotless, everything's included, absolutely no problem whatsoever. You could eat off of these things. Then we've got the sloppy seconds, games that are generally all together, they look fine enough, but have some slight imperfections. The game case is starting to get chapped, look at this, it looks dehydrated. There might be some crinkles here and there, and some light stuff missing like the manual or any extra inserts. It looks like the last owner used it as a napkin, but it's inoffensive to own. You may get less job offers, but with games like these, who needs them? But looking at the small little imperfections in the game cases, that just makes you ask, how did it get this way? Especially with games that recently came out. You ever see a used copy of a game that released a month ago and it's already on its deathbed? Games just get these random hickeys sometimes. Like, this is my copy of Super Mario 3D World. I've owned it since launch, taking good care of it. It has this for some reason now. My copy of Call of Duty Black Ops on Wii? Not my copy of Call of Duty Black Ops on Wii! One day in 2011, I found it on the floor with this gash in the middle. I did patch it up with tape, and thankfully it was in a spot I could cover up with black Sharpie, but these two moments made me realize games are far more fragile than you may expect. Which is odd. Game companies know their products are handled by young children. You'd think they'd use bulletproof paper or something. Because this is just the beginning of the end. Thirdly, there's the frauds. You see them at the store and think, oh, that's looking pretty good, pull it off the shelf and weep.
There's something wrong with my WarioWare.
If the seller didn't have the original artwork for the game case, they may just print off their own.
I've done that.
At least they're making an effort. Sometimes the print quality is actually pretty good and can be misleading. Sometimes I'll pick up a used game and it'll take a while for me to realize this is a lie. And then other times I ask, okay, so you made an effort, but you didn't? Some people use the lowest quality box art scans they can to print off their copy. Sometimes it's not even the official box art. They'll just use whatever pops up on Google first. You can make the argument, oh, they were in a rush. They didn't have time to find the highest quality box art. Then why print box art in the first place? I have a love-hate relationship with these. On one hand, it's good to see people care enough to print off high-quality box art, but I don't want printed off box art, I want the real deal. I have a man to be, and I won't be that with fake Luigi's Mansion. At least with the shitty box art printouts, I mean, it's beyond obvious it's fake, so there's no fooling here, but like, who thought this looked okay? It's more fun to see the box art that's drawn on with Sharpie.
Oh,
really puts you in
yeah.
the shoes of the last person
I've
who owned
seen
the
that
game.
a couple
Like,
of
how did you
times.
lose the box art? You kept the case, you kept the disc, the manual. How do you lose the artwork? That almost seems like it's the hardest thing to lose. If the
Yeah.
whole case was missing, I'd understand, but the artwork? You'd have to make a conscious decision to get rid of that. And then the stickers. Oh God, the stickers!
That's literally
Every
the
used
worst
game
part.
needs some kind of indication what its price is. It just so happens the only way to do that is to staple it on. Why are stickers on video game boxes the most powerful stickers of all time?
Seriously.
You get the easy peel-off ones, but those are few and far between. Most of the time, these things have melted to the plastic. They're impossible to tear off in one go. And even if you do tear it all off, sometimes the sticker juice is left on. It makes the game case stick to all other game cases around it, and
Yes,
then it
it
attracts
does.
the world's hair population. You have yourself a sticky case with just a great personality. Even the tiny garage sale stickers can be a pain. They're so small and rip in half so easily when peeling them off. And who the hell ever thought it was a good idea to put stickers right on any paper included on
my
the product?
God.
The box art,
Right.
labels. This cartridge has so much plastic space, but you just had to smack the sticker right here. Why go out of your way to put stickers on the artwork itself instead of just the plastic case? I guess it's to prevent you from swapping price stickers on cases to get a better deal. But who does that? I got the cashier to think they were ringing up apples when they were really ringing up bananas. I just learned an easy way to get stuff on the cheap. Steal it. While peeling stickers off can be therapeutic,
I have had one of a day.
I've very rarely seen any used game sellers get stickers right. That's how we get these old cartridge games with torn labels. I assume this is from stickers because if it wasn't, how the hell did it get this way? Listen, I understand some people just don't care about treating dumb plastic bullshit with respect. I get it. It's just in a condition like this, I wonder
Ooh,
how could it have possibly
that was red.
accidentally gotten like this? And I remember watching somebody open a game for a birthday present. They open it up and go, nice! They start peeling off the shrink wrap and they didn't realize they were also peeling off the game case itself.
Same
Happy
country.
birthday. That's like, how does this happen? How does this happen? What about this? What, did you like spill water on your game and you tried to dry it off with a saw? Each used game with a purple heart has a story to tell that I'll never know, but sometimes you can make assumptions. Sometimes you get notes left in from the original owner, and back in the day, places like Hollywood Video would brand their games like cattle. This is etched in there. There's no way getting around this. But hey, I now know this happened to be a rental video game. See, this is annoying, but also a part of history. I can at least look at this and go,
I really respect that.
but this
To me,
is
that
never
would
going to be
add
fixed.
value
With stickers,
to it.
yeah, this is stupid, but that's where a funny neighbor who smells really bad comes to help. Gone, you just squirt that all over. Next person that owns this is going to have the exact same questions I do.
What the f happened here?
This usually helps get rid of that sticker residue. Now, don't get me wrong, I like this, but I would never drink it.
It just smells too bad. I couldn't.
But some stickers are just a bit too tough. Much like the Hollywood Video branding, there are some stickers that are basically permanently bonded to the plastic. This Microsoft Company Store Purchase sticker falls under the category of neat but go away. Now, this was purchased within Microsoft by a Microsoft employee who really wanted to play Whacked. That's really cool. Now, why do they need an as-large sticker that's impossible to peel off?
I'm trying everything I can here.
To be fair, if it's just the case that's the issue, you can almost always swap it out with a better one. The problem is trying to find another one. The first thought is, oh, I'll get an old sports game. Those are in the dollar bin, nobody's buying them. I can harvest that thing for its shell. But they have their own impossible sticker to remove. Most EA sports titles have this shiny branding that you can peel off, but it's gonna leave a lot of residue. I mean, there are other games to put out of their misery to simply use their cases, but some games, they're too far gone. Thanks, Caden. A lot of people like to label their property. Oh, some games even encourage that. Pokemon Stadium on N64 had this spot to put your name.
Right.
Weirdly enough, my copy of Pokemon Stadium is clean, but Kirsten just had to write on Pokemon Snap. Now, for these, there are a few ways to clean them up. I like using magic erasers. Dab it in a bit of water and scrub a bit if it's on plastic. Many times, marker comes right off. Now, when it's on paper, Welcome to Corp Central.
This is all fairly common for used games, though. Weirdly enough, a lot of secondhand game stores don't really care about cleaning their games before reselling them. Sometimes they plaster stickers all over the place, sometimes in places that could do a lot of damage, and other times they just don't even use new cases if theirs is all cracked and sad. The thing is, these stores make most of their money off of used games. New games they don't make much of a profit off of. Most of the money made from those go straight back to the publisher. Used games, they just bought from some sap in the store. They can charge whatever they want for them. They can make as much of a profit off of those as they so please. So why do they do this? Yeah, no problem. That gets cleaned, avoid your warranty. Used games are disgusting half of the time in these stores. But even the most disgusting used game of all time doesn't even begin to compare to the worst offender of me seeing something of all time.
Fuck out. So sometimes when people sell their used games, all they have is the disc. At least it makes more sense than not having the artwork but having the case. Like, oh man, I need more space. There. Some people just prefer having the disc on a spindle. I can never look them in the eye, but hey, that at least makes sense. That saves an unbelievable amount of space. But of course, people who only have loose discs don't take the greatest care of them. Hey, here's that game you wanted back. I lost the case. I left the manual in Reno. I wanted to give you that back. I wanted to give you back what's rightfully yours. So when am I looking after your daughter? But for some reason, GameStop and various other stores accepted loose games like this. And where did they go? In the GameStop generic cases. They just have the game console's logo, a really off-center age rating. Oh look, it's rated E10+, and a very sloppily typed on title. Who the hell buys these?
Who?
And then for the funkier cases, stuff like the PS4, which those games don't have DVD-sized cases, they mold their own, and they're the cheapest things imaginable. Why have that attention to detail? Why put PS4 games in these types of cases? Are the kind of people who buy games in the GameStop generic cases really the type of people who would say, this isn't the size of a normal PS4 game? I thought this was a GameStop, not a witch. Why go that extra mile if you're gonna put this in a GameStop case? I might as well just use a regular DVD one. Need for Speed Hot Pursuit on 360. This is a Wii case with a baseball sticker. Okay, you have the GameStop generic case, but you have the original artwork. How did that happen? How do you lose the case but not the artwork?
How?
What about the old GameStop cases? Those were better and worse. Yeah, just some cartoon characters throwing gang signs. The GameCube one has a mom buying a sack for a kid, and this same guy, but backwards. Let's see how many problems we can find with this. Okay, so somebody put a sticker on the spine of the artwork, tried ripping it off. This is a GameCube game in a PlayStation 2 case. They still have literally every piece of paper that was included originally for some reason, and worst of all, it's fucking Geist. Eventually, the only way you can buy certain games is used. There's no beating around that. Sometimes prices can be dirt cheap. Sometimes they can skyrocket above what they originally went for brand new, and if it's a brand new used game, you save $5. And just buy it new at that point. You know, the profits you can make off of used games must be incredible. I mean, look at all these wholesale lots online you can buy. Fuck it, I don't need a house payment. I decided to buy a bunch of mystery used game lots. I have no clue what games are included. This is gonna be fun.
One of my lots came with an empty jar of minced garlic.
Yeah, I guess to package these games tightly in a container, the seller included minced garlic for padding. Well, let's see what we got here. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Yeah, lots like these are basically trying to get rid of used games that have been rotting on game store shelves that would never sell on their own, so they sell them as a part of a 50 NES game lot, and they're nothing more than... Boo! Oh my god, this lot came with a sealed GameCube game. That looks like ass! This is my first used brand new video game. There were some good gets in here, but most of the time you're playing with fire with these lots. Basically, I now own all the games nobody wanted to own. Now, game companies don't really like used games. They'd vastly prefer if you bought them new. That way, they make money. See, they ain't making anything off of a used game sale. That's all the game store's profit. And we've seen time and time again companies trying to incentivize people to buy their games brand new. In the latter half of the 360 and PS3's life, there were online passes where if you wanted to play online multiplayer, you had to input a code you got with new copies of the game. If you bought the game used, it's likely the online pass was already redeemed, so to play online multiplayer, you'd have to pay $10. Now I see a lot of launch editions where you get bonuses for buying the game around its launch window or pre-ordering it. However, with digital games, you can't possibly trade those in. Nintendo gets all the money from you buying their games digitally. Sony doesn't have to give a cut to a retailer. Microsoft doesn't have to worry about people buying those digital games used.
The war against used games will forever permeate through gaming history, and at least with digital, the companies make more money off of their products, which means they can fund even more great projects in the future. Or they can give their CEOs $4 more. Digital is the way of the future. That's just where gaming's heading. And while I don't think physical games will ever leave for good, Digital is definitely what most of these companies want. So while used games can be fucking disgusting, they're a part of gaming culture. And I would love to see a digital game do this. I found Dig Dug.
There you go. Scott The Woz was like on point with a lot of the stuff he said. I disagree when it comes to newer used games, simply because I have seen newer used games go for like 25% less than the new game itself if you were to buy it like, you know, sealed. But you would need to manipulate some kind of like reward system, some kind of like built up credit. I mean, there's that as well. Sometimes you have stores and they won't let you use credit for traded in games on sealed product, but you could get a used version of that game. And, you know, then there's also the points where kids, you know, they have a certain allowance that they can go up to, and they have to, you know, take the used copy because they don't have enough money to get the new copy. So there's situations where I disagree with the not buying new used games because it can be beneficial in certain circumstances. And I agree with him at the end when he was talking about retro game collecting and used game collecting. It's gonna be something that's completely cornered by the retro market, because the way things are going, physical copies of games are going to be like short runs maybe, and major distribution of physical copies of games will likely die out very soon. But we have so much already. Like, there are so many games out there already. The hobby will continue for my lifetime, I'm sure. I think a lot of things are going to become more expensive just due to the rarity of things that are like no longer in print. They're not making any more of it. That's it. That's all that exists. And so that in and of itself holds some value, and so does the stories to people like me of what these games have been through, where they came from, what memories they spark. You know, it's a very nostalgia fueled hobby. But game collecting and just the purchase of used games in general is something that I've done like almost my entire life. I think I started buying used games and going to flea markets for them when I was around 6 years old. I think I had a NES. That was my first system, and I loved it. I still love it. That's one of the things about quarantine that's really ripped my heart out, is my love to go thrift shopping for retro video games completely out the window. So there's always the online market, you know, eBay and various platforms that you can buy used video games on, but it's also kind of sketchy. And I find a large majority of the time, this goes for people that are like selling Pokemon cards or Yu-Gi-Oh cards or video games or anything nostalgic like that seems to be a little bit hot at the moment. They're going to not put a price on anything and accept offers for a period of time. And it's a rat race that I hate. I would much rather haggle with somebody with cash in hand, and it's like dealing with a used car salesman to buy something online at this point. I've also bought things recently, and then the value of said item will go up overnight, and that person will just like completely stop responding to me, just go back on the deal, ghost me completely on the deal, and I'll have to get a refund of my money back because the item became more valuable the next day and they want to sell it for that higher price. It's just become a little bit ridiculous. So I really miss the days of, which is crazy because it's almost been like a year now, that you could just go and haggle with someone in person and find, you know, what you're looking for in the wild. And it was just a really, really fun thing to do. And I can't wait to get back to that as soon as I possibly can. But, a lot of the points that were made in this video were very, very good points. I didn't think too hard into the like GameStop cases and the labels that they make. Like, for me, I would rather have a complete game, but it doesn't really kill me to just get the disc if it's something that I'm trying to play, especially for something newer. When it gets back to like PS1, like then I want the whole thing. And also Nintendo 64 games, that's such a difficult task because it's like the paper box, the cardboard boxes and stuff. I mean, it's interesting. It's an interesting hobby, and it's cool to see it through the lens of somebody else. I think Scott The Woz had some really good takes. I didn't agree with him on everything. A huge one, I can't forget this. The stickers, sticky residue on the cases. I've got to like peel apart my collection of PS2 games to look through them because they all were pretty much bought used, and it's just a nightmare. It's like they're glued together. I could build a fort out of my PS2 collection because of the adhesive that's still on there. It's disgusting. But once again, another great video by Scott The Woz. I really enjoyed watching this one. Thank you so much for recommending this creator to me. And if you have any more recommendations, something that you would like to see, something that you would like to see me to react to, something you'd like to see me and Nikki react to, go ahead and drop that in the comments section. If you like this video, if you could give us a thumbs up, a subscription, that would be great. Continue to check out Scott The Woz. He's got tons of content. I'm sure you already know who the man is, and if not, you should definitely go check him out. But that's going to be it for this video. I enjoyed it. I hope you did too, and I will see you next time.